Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So, today's topic is very simple. It's about time that we really establish the fact of the connection between negative emotions, chronic emotional stress, and the onset of disease. Well, it would be wrong of me to say that just that alone is enough to trigger off diseases. Any disease that we have in the body, right from diabetes, a lifestyle disease, to something as deadly as a cancer or a brain tumor or a hormonal, imbalance related condition that we have, is usually multifactorial. You can look at poor nutrition, you can look at self-medication, over-medication, a sedentary lifestyle, sleep deprivation, or, deprivation, stress. It takes many factors for us to usually fall sick. But over the last couple of years, we've noticed that when we diagnose with patients who have diseases and chronic diseases, there is a large chunk of that percentage of factors that leans towards chronic emotional, health, poor emotional health over the years. Now, I'm not here to scare you today. Like, we have a little bit of stress. You have a fight with your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. Probably you fail or, you didn't achieve your financial target, all of that stuff. That's not the kind of stress I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is real negativity that weighs down on us. You know the kind of stress I'm talking about if you go through it. I'm talking about hatred. I'm talking about the inability to forgive. I'm talking about guilt, constant guilt that doesn't allow us to overcome our insecurities. I'm talking about, jealousy and envy. I'm talking about resentment, bitterness that happens because of a particular event. We have to understand that we are not always the cause of these emotions happening within us. It could happen because of a life circumstance. It could happen because of a particular event that has happened in your life, a particular person, a particular relationship, a phase in your life. A sickness or an illness can also lead to emotional stress. But I think it's very important for us to even understand that today there is so much of depression. A lot of people don't even know that they're depressed, because with depression, you're either great at hiding it or you're great at dealing with it. Okay, but we need to understand, because we're chasing medicine, we're chasing nutrition, we're chasing new diet plans, new exercise programs, vitamins, minerals, but the world isn't getting better. If you look at the statistics of disease, every disease is only getting worse and worse. Name the disease, it's not getting better when you look at the comparison of the statistics of the previous year and this year, whether it's cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular, thyroid issues, PCOS, depression, suicides, all of that is only getting worse. So something's obviously wrong with the approach that we think is right. No, we don't need more diets. We don't need more superfoods. We don't need more exercise programs. Everything that we have is enough for us. But we have to start going within. We don't have to start, we've looked outside enough, and we've been confused with so much of information, with so much of content. Now we have to start looking within and look at the internal environment of our body. You see, to fall sick, there has to be an internal environment and an external environment. For your immunity to fail, for a cancer cell to grow in your body, for your brain cells to get depleted, there has to be two environments involved, your internal environment and your external environment. Internal is what is happening within you, your blood pressure, your breathing, your digestion, all of these things which are linked with the way you think, the kind of food you eat. And then there's the external environment, the weather, uh, pollution levels outside, environments at home. Is it a toxic environment in your relationship at home? Is it an easy environment? Is relaxation something that you can easily incite in yourself? Are you able to turn on a relaxation response easily? All of these things are dependent on the internal and external environment. Internally, you may be feeling very stressed out, and you're on the brink of breaking down. That's your internal environment. But does the external environment allow you to be able to start the relaxation process and give the internal environment that space it needs to heal, to rejuvenate, and to repair? So that is why there's an internal environment and there is an external environment. So yes, today I think top doctors from around the world, science and even medicine, has shown us the correlation between emotions and disease. There's a top surgeon, we'll share that quote with you later. I think his name is Dr. Steve, and we've spoken about him several times. He's the chief of surgery in the Cancer Hospitals of America, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll look that up completely. He just says one thing. He's saying, my patients can't heal if they have unforgiveness in them. They have to learn how to forgive. They got to get rid of anger and hatred, And only then will my surgery really work and will they be able to heal and completely recover. We have cardiologists who tell patients today that, hey, listen, if you can't relax, if you can't take it easy, you can't stop being angry all the time, I can't prevent you from getting a heart attack. We know that the liver is connected with irritability. We know that back problems are connected with financial insecurities. We know that breast cancers are linked with emotional, trauma that a girl or a lady may have gone through, like deeply rooted, ugly divorces, rapes, child abuse, loss of a loved one, all of these things. There is always a connection of some disease, okay, with some emotion. So I'm not here to say that if you got angry today, you're going to get a heart attack tomorrow. But if you're constantly getting sick and your medicines are not working in you anymore, and you constantly have to go and see doctor after doctor, pop pill after pill, it's about time that we start looking within and understanding that the emotional connection is real. Let's talk about cancer. Today, almost 95 to 98% of our cancer patients that we have over the last couple of years, we have been able to drive it down to a deeply rooted emotion that has, like I said, cancer can be caused by many, many things. But finally, the patient says, Luke, it was at this point in my life, I knew I was falling sick. Something was changing in me. And it was at that point or 6 months to a year before that event where they had gone through a lot of emotional trauma. So we are human beings. We are going to go through emotional trauma, maybe, maybe not. I hope not at some point. The thing is understanding how damaging it is to us. And number two, what can we do about it? Because a lot of people say, oh, everyone has stress. So they don't believe that their stress can cause disease. They wash it away because they don't want to believe that. Because it scares us to know that, hey, my stress can cause disease. So all of us says, oh, everyone has stress, deal with it. No, you don't have to deal with it that way. You got to learn how to manage your stress, because if you don't, it is going to cause some sickness at some point. And we're going to have a look at all of those things. So let's understand, if you're trying to correct a problem in your life, it's always good to understand how it impacts. It shouldn't be just Luke is saying that stress causes disease. But when you understand how stress causes disease, it stays in your mind. Then it doesn't really relate to that Luke said this. You have an understanding of how your own stress can lead to disease. And that's when you move into action plan and you start doing the things that you can do to reduce the amount of stress and emotional stress and negativity that you possibly have in your life or that possibly may come into your life at some point. So let's get into anatomy and a little bit of understanding of the human body. Every human being, okay, we have a fight and flight response. Right from the time of evolution, every human being has this ability to switch between a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system means stress. The body is ready for stress. So go back to evolution. Let's use the example of a lion. I put all of you in a room and I set a lion free. There are two ways that everyone will react. Some of you will prepare to fight because that's your only way. Fight to protect yourself. A lot of you will prepare to run, to flee. It's called the fight or flight response. Now, to fight or to flee, the human body needs a lot of energy instantly, okay? Blood has to run down to your leg muscles and all your muscles so that you can move from being in one place into a run. Try to run faster than the lion or fight strong enough to maybe kill the lion or to, kind of stop the lion from attacking you. So here's what happens in your body. The moment there is a perception of stress, there is a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone. It's not a bad hormone. We need it, but we don't need too much of it. And we don't need cortisol to stay elevated in our body. So the moment we have perceived stress, my adrenal glands produce cortisol and adrenaline. Adrenaline gives us that strength to run, to fight. If you've ever jumped out of a plane or you've done some adventure sports or roller coaster, whatever it is, that feeling is all adrenaline. If you're lifting weights and then you get you get into a high when you're working out or running, you get a boost of adrenaline that gives you so much of energy. You feel so good. That is adrenaline required for the sympathetic nervous system to help us to fight or to flee. So cortisol goes up, adrenaline goes up. Okay, this is all perfect. Our heart rate goes up, cholesterol goes up, blood sugar levels go up, digestion shuts down because your body doesn't want to use energy for digestion. All that energy has to go to the fight and flight response. So all of these things are happening beautifully in your body, and you are able to fight or you are able to run. Okay, this is the sympathetic nervous system. Now the event is over. The lion's either killed or he's killed a couple of people. The event is over. Okay, there's no more stress perceived. So cortisol stops being produced. It reduces. Down comes the adrenaline. Heart rate comes down. Cholesterol resumes. Blood sugar levels resume. Digestion slowly starts. Your inflammation comes down. You're back into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. That is your relaxation response. So in the parasympathetic nervous system, we can digest food, we can sleep, we can relax, we can enjoy life. You cannot do that in the sympathetic nervous system. Impossible. Impossible. You can't sleep if you're in the sympathetic nervous system. Your body won't allow you to. Your hormones won't allow you to. It's only in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is why it is so important for us to be able to move into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. Anyway, depression, including depression, all of the diseases I mentioned, including depression. Now, that's an ideal situation, okay? That lion situation today in your life could be your partner fighting with you, okay? An issue at work, you're stuck in traffic, you know, you lost something, you didn't get a promotion. That's your lion, okay? That's your lion. But the bad part about that is that lion continues to be in your life. If you have a toxic person in your life all the time, or you live in a toxic environment, or there's constant stress around you, the lion is always in your life. Now, there's a big problem with that, because guess what stays up? Cortisol and adrenaline, okay? It has to come down after it's done its job. But over here, you're not running from a lion, okay? You're not running from a lion. You're living with the same person every day, or seeing the same person every day, or working the same job every day, or doing something that you don't like every day, or you get what I mean? That's your lion. Your stress levels are always high. They're always high. Your cortisol is elevated, your adrenaline is elevated, so your blood sugar levels, your cholesterol, your heart rate, all of this goes up. Now that's a problem, because when we have too much of cortisol floating around in our body, okay, what we have is, because of the stress response, we have something called norepinephrine. Okay, now norepinephrine is good for us. It helps us feel alert. It helps us feel energized. Okay, so the moment adrenaline and cortisol goes up, norepinephrine goes up, and we're alert. We're energized. We're ready, fight and flight. The problem is if it stays up. Cortisol and adrenaline stays up because your stress is becoming chronic because of your situation. The lion is always there. So the norepinephrine starts depleting. The more cortisol, it starts depleting. Now that's a big problem. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that keeps us feeling happy. It helps us to feel pleasures in life. That starts falling. As that falls, serotonin, which is necessary for us to feel good, it puts us in a good mood. Without serotonin, our mood would be right down. Your dopamine falls, your serotonin falls, your norepinephrine falls further. Okay, so that falls further. Now you have an imbalance in your neurotransmitters. Dopamine, serotonin, all of these things fall, and norepinephrine, which helps you feel alert and energized, also falls. So now you feel confused, equals anxiety. You start feeling anxious, out of control, panic attack. You don't know what to do. Nothing can help you because norepinephrine has come down. It has to come up again for you to get rid of those feelings. And that's why you get certain injections that can raise norepinephrine automatically, accident victims, trauma victims, all of that stuff immediately, because you need it. You need it for survival. So this is what has happened. All of these things start falling. Okay. Now, along with this, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, all of these levels start fluctuating. In a man, the testosterone will drop right down. That's why chronically stressed men, you'll find they have big pot bellies, a lot of belly fat, very little muscle. They put on weight. They can't lose weight no matter what they do. In women, progesterone falls, estrogen goes up. So a lot of weight accumulates in the belly area, the arms, the butt, and no matter what you do, you may lose weight from other parts of your body, but that belly and that midriff fat doesn't go. That is estrogen-induced fat. Unless you manage your stress, no amount of diet, no amount of food will help you. And then that puts you, you're doing everything, you're frustrated, more stress. So you see, you're in a vicious cycle of creating more and more stress. You don't lose weight, more hormonal imbalance, estrogen-induced cancers, testosterone, issues in men, libido problems. Do you see the picture of what is happening because of one thing: elevated stress levels. As long as stress goes up and comes down. So let's continue that story. Okay. So now it starts affecting your brain: Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, arthritis, osteoporosis, all of these diseases that I made a list of, cardiovascular. When all of this happens in your body, the norepinephrine falls. Okay. We start producing something called procytokines. Cytokines are required by our immune system. But when we have too many of them, they start attacking us. Right now, at the time of the COVID virus, most of you all would have heard that a lot of people are dying because of lung issues, because there's a cytokine storm in their lungs. What this means is their own immune system is literally attacking them and killing them. Inflammation. Inflammation goes up with the stress response. It doesn't come down. So you're producing more and more procytokines. These are inflammatory, let's say inflammatory knives in the human body. They go and they start destroying your arteries, your brain cells, every part of your body. Inflammation literally eats into it like a rust. The stress levels come down, inflammation comes down, you move into the parasympathetic system, everything is better. Okay? So further, as we have more and more negative feelings, like if I'm in a breakup today, okay, I really need to try to heal myself and come out of it as soon as possible. Because if I go through 5 days, 10 days, 20 days, 40 days, 50 days, my cortisol levels are elevated for that long. Okay. Now I start having gut issues, because if there's inflammation, my gut gets inflamed. What happens when my gut gets inflamed? I have issues with my microbiome, my bacteria. I start bloating. When I start bloating, I start increasing inflammation in my gut. I can have a leaky gut syndrome. Particles enter my bloodstream, not supposed to be there. My immune system overreacts and starts attacking my body again. So when you look at any autoimmune condition, there is an underlying cause of even stress and emotions. Eczema, psoriasis, multiple sclerosis, vitiligo, all of them. Yes, a lot of people say they're genetic, but stress can also be genetic. If you grew up seeing your parents stressed and anxious all the time, that becomes your way of living as well. So yes, the genes are there, but you're making the condition worse when you can actually make it better and actually possibly even reverse all the conditions. So then it starts hitting your gut. Now your immune system drops. Today, there's enough of science to show us that the more stressed we are, your T cell multiplication, your T cells are the cells that make up your immune system. Okay, if you don't have T cells, you don't have an immune system. So they did this beautiful research on grieving widows, and they showed how the T cell multiplication actually falls when they're in grieving. As the grieving slowly ends, their T cell multiplication cells increase and their immunity comes back up. This is fine for short periods of time. But when you're chronically stressed, immunity comes right down. Now, if your immunity comes down, guess what? You're vulnerable to any disease on this planet, from cancer to an HIV positive, you name it, a viral attack, a bacterial attack, everything. Now, what happens is when we get stressed, if you attended my previous talk on neurotransmitters and how we feel good, we spoke about oxytocin. Okay, that's a cuddle hormone. That's a love hormone. When we touch each other, when we feel good, we produce that. That boosts your immunity. It helps your immune system get stronger. It reduces inflammation at the same time, helping you with almost every disease, which today is categorized as an inflammatory disease. What is an inflammatory disease? Cancers, cardiovascular, diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Most of the diseases are inflammatory in nature, caused by inflammation. So all of you doctors will put you on anti-inflammatories to bring it down. Nothing wrong with that. They're doing the right thing. But how many will you take? How many more steroids will you take to shut down your immune system and invite more problems? Sometimes you got to address the root cause. Is my inflammation caused maybe because of my emotional stress? And when the answer is mostly yes, what do I do about it? We'll come to solution mode very soon. So oxytocin. If you're living in a relationship where there's no more love, there's no more physical intimacy, there's no more touch, there's no more hugging, you're not even using half the hormones in your body like oxytocin, endorphins, all of these things that is designed to keep you healthy. That's why loneliness today is considered as a disease. Now you can be single. It doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship. You may be single, but you're connected with your parents or your boy or your friends or your siblings or whatever. Human connection is important. So I'm not here to say that you may be single right now and you shouldn't be getting stressed that, oh, I have to go get married and get into a relationship and it'll solve all my points. Yes, human connection is very, very important for our lives, our happiness, human connection. Without that, we cannot live happy lives and we do not have good health. But you get my point. The point is, when we are trying to heal from deadly diseases, or we're trying to prevent it or improve our lives, we can't just use medicine, food, and nutrition anymore, or exercise. We have to look at everything beyond that. Physical intimacy, hugs, touch. How much of love do I have in my life? If there's loneliness, what am I doing about it? What am I doing about it? What has filled my life with loneliness? Is it my own behavior, my own insecurities? I'm too hurt to go out there. I'm an introvert. I don't feel good about myself. My self-confidence is low. My self-esteem is too low. You've got to fix these things. It is essential for your health. It is essential for your well-being. So let me move to the next point. We spoke about insecurities the other day, if you were part of that video, where so many people want to say what they want to say, but they can't. As much as they want to say it, they can't, because they're stuck in relationships. They're too scared of the consequences. They're too scared of what people may think about them. They're too scared about how the world may judge them. They're just too scared to say what they want. Let me give you a classic example of this beautiful case study done on gay men and gay boys, when they were given the ability to go out and just tell the world that, hey, I'm gay. I don't care whether you like me or not. I am gay. They measured how inflammation in these people completely fell. Their eczemas, their psoriasis, everything started getting better because they were literally hiding in a closet. So how many of us out there are living a life where we want to go and say what we want to say to people who may have hurt us or let us down, or maybe we're too tired of trying to behave and hold a facade that is not us anymore. We're too tired. It's not us. We know we're frauds. We're living a fake life. We're portraying to someone or the world something that we're not, but now we're tired of that. And we just want to be known for who we are. We want to be loved for who we are. We want to be appreciated for who we are. And when we drop that and we just go out and be ourselves, not caring what people say, the right people will stay, the wrong people will go. You have no idea how much your healing will move up to. Your healing will just move up, right up, because it was being suppressed all this time. You will feel a lightness in your heart. You will feel an emotion called bliss. A lot of people think they feel bliss when they're on drugs and when they're on alcohol. Well, you can never feel bliss when you're on alcohol and when you're on drugs. You have to feel bliss with moments to happen in your life. And for that, you have to have a very light and joyous heart. So if you're suppressing things, you've kept too many things, then no, you got to go. Maybe it won't change your situation, but at least you saying it and expressing it the right way will relieve you. Some people can't express, so they write it down. They write how they feel. They write a letter that, dear so-and-so, I don't like you because you hurt me. You said this, whatever. You write it down. You abuse them, whatever it is. You tear up the paper and throw it out. At least you're getting it out of your system if you can't say it. But there's a respectful way of expression. And when you learn to do that, if you remember my definition of courage, courage is the commitment towards stepping into pain and facing our fears. There doesn't always have to be pain involved. Sometimes it could just be facing your fears. So courage is your commitment. Today you make a commitment to be courageous. Today you make a commitment to face your pains, to face humility, to face whatever it is that's difficult in your life and that has suppressed you from saying and being who you want to be. When you do that, you will experience bliss and something called true freedom. A lot of people think they're free. They're not. They don't understand what true freedom is until they are able to do this. Okay? So health can actually improve immediately. We've done this with hundreds of cancer patients over the last couple of years. We tell them, you got to face your fears. Let me give you an example. About 8 months ago, I had a doctor in Hyderabad, an allopathic doctor, very prominent doctor, reached out to us, joined our program. She had a lot of skin issues, hair issues, weight problems, hormonal balance, thyroid, diabetes, all of these issues. A week down, she expressed about, her relationship with her husband, how things were bad. She doesn't feel loved, appreciated. Husband doesn't care about her. Told her, you want to leave, leave, go. I don't give a damn. All of that stuff. Finally, I told her, you have just one solution. Leave. Don't get a divorce. Go live with your parents. Be with them for about a couple of weeks. Okay? Let's see how you feel. Within 24 hours of her leaving her husband's home and going to her mom's home, she sent a message back to us. Half of her symptoms had disappeared. Over the next 1 to 2 weeks, all her levels came back into place. Today, she messaged me because she was part of something that we were doing together. And she said, Luke, I'm just a different person. I can't even believe I was sick. just by changing her environment and by telling her husband that I cannot be with you anymore. If you're willing to change, I'm willing to work it out. Till then, I cannot live with you anymore. By making that one change, everything in her life changed. Now, I know a lot of you would be saying, but I can't do that. My family situation is different. Yes, we all have those issues. There are other ways to do it. I don't have a solution for all of you, but I'm trying to say if there is a will, there is a way. Remember courage. We've got to step into pain, face difficulties if we want to make a change in our life. So by now, you would have realized how your emotions and stress can cause diseases. Your kids too. Today, I have 12 years and 30 years and 14 years old kids coming with PCOD problems, eczema, psoriasis. One question, stress levels, highly anxious kids, peer pressure, all of that stuff. I tell the parents up front, if you don't work on that aspect, don't think my food plan is going to solve your problems for you. The children who do that, make those changes, start, taking it easy with their studies, all of that stuff, have a complete 100% healing. Those who don't, they don't have the healing. As simple as that. So by now you would have established the connection of emotional stress and chronic stress with the onset of a simple condition like a flu or a cold and a cough or an asthma attack to something as dangerous as a Parkinson's, a cancer, diabetes, an autoimmune condition, and all of that stuff. So what do? We need to move to the parasympathetic nervous system. Most of the times, we should be living in the parasympathetic system. But most of us are living in the sympathetic nervous system. How do we move to the parasympathetic nervous system? We have to learn how to relax. How can I move into relaxation immediately? Now, there are two ways that people do it. Light up a cigarette, light up a joint, go drink some alcohol, go on social media, look for validation, troll someone, play video game after video game because we want to just try to relax and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with playing video games unless you get addicted to it and it's making you more and more aggressive and stuff like that. So we can find ways to relax the wrong way or the right way. Or we get into the wrong company, or we get into the wrong relationships, abusive relationships where we're taken advantage of. Or we start getting into mindless sex, which further destroys us psychologically and physiologically as well. Or we start looking for vices, over shopping, over socializing, spending your money that you don't even own on credit, all of that stuff, building up more debt. These are all vices that control us. Or sometimes we even use spirituality as a fad. We try to go to extremes thinking that it's going to solve our problem. So there are these ways of moving into relaxation, which is never going to work for you. It'll work for you for a short period of time. But when the high comes down, when you lose the stimulation of all the material things that you acquired, when your friend circles don't inspire you anymore because it's run its course and those meaningless relationships don't make sense to you anymore, and you now start to feel that you've been taken advantage of and you're just being physically or mentally or emotionally used and abused, that's when you have a crash. That's when you move spirally down into depression. So remember, when cortisol went up, norepinephrine fell down. Dopamine started falling down, serotonin started falling down, and norepinephrine started falling down more and more. Spiral. That's what happens in every patient of depression. There is a spiral that they cannot control. So then they put you on certain drugs or whatever it is and stuff like that you need. But can you break that spiral? In most cases, absolutely yes, by understanding that it has been caused by some amount of emotional stress in your life. So now you have the root cause. And if you start addressing the root cause, there's a huge chance that you'll be able to come out of that depression or out of all the other illnesses using what you need, medicine, nutrition, all of these things, but with 100% focus on your emotional health. Okay, so we spoke about the illicit ways of inducing relaxation in the body, which will never last, never, never, never. It'll make you sadder, more empty, and more miserable. But now, how can we induce real relaxation? Because the solution I have for you is only relaxation. I don't have a solution for your toxic relationship. I don't have a solution for your property, case that you're fighting. I don't have a solution for the fact that you can't lose from your body if you're constantly stressed that you can't lose it from your body. We have to first learn how to relax, because why are we trying to do that? Bring down cortisol. If we bring down cortisol, we bring down adrenaline, sugar levels, cholesterol, heart rate, hormones tend to balance. And when we're in a state of relaxation, guess what? Our food plans and diets work better. Our exercise works better. We are able to sleep better, and we start to feel happier. The more we start to feel happier, the better we start to feel about ourselves. because you can only feel good if you have good thoughts. Remember, thoughts equal feelings. Bad thoughts, bad feelings. Sad thoughts, sad feelings. Depressed thoughts, depressed feelings. Happy thoughts, happy feelings. Joyous thoughts, joyous feelings. It's as simple as that. No one can ever change those dynamics. So if you are really sad today, there's one thing I can be 100% assured of. I can bet all my money on it, that you're thinking sad thoughts today. And that's why you're sad. Now, what can you do? You've got to change the course of your thoughts. To something happy, you change the way you feel. Easy to say, difficult to do. That's why we need to induce a relaxation method into us that can work. What are these relaxation methods? There are many of them. Some people find it in prayer. By praying in the morning, they feel so relaxed. So whenever they know that prayer induces relaxation in me, when they're going through stress or something's not going well in their life, they use the anchor of prayer. They start to pray because they know they can at least move into relaxation. When you move into relaxation, you're in the parasympathetic nervous system. Stress will not affect you the way we have learned it can affect us. Some people it's prayer. Some people it's meditation. And meditation is a beautiful way that we should all use and all learn to induce relaxation in us. Because when you meditate, why do you feel so good? Relaxation. Without having to think, you can feel good because all of your hormones, your neurotransmitters, everything works in harmony with each other. When things are in harmony, we feel good. So prayer is one. Okay, the third thing that we have is gratitude. And if I have to look at all my data over the years, I think when you sit down to write down the things that you're grateful for, or you sit by the window at the end of the day or in the beginning of your morning, and you just count your blessings, or you go over the things that you are truly grateful for, you are in a relaxed state automatically. Never force it. There are many days that I don't feel like doing the gratitude exercise. I just don't do it. That's it. The next day, I'm back to normal. Everything doesn't have to happen every day. But gratitude, the practice of gratitude today is scientifically proven to induce relaxation into people. So even someone came to me about 5 days ago, just diagnosed with cancer. And he was, Luke, what can I do? I need to feel calm right now. I said, just sit down, take out a paper and pen. I know you have cancer. Write it on one side of the sheet, but now on the other side of the sheet, write everything that you have, and that is going well in your life. And then he sent me a WhatsApp picture of this. And he said, I have money for the best treatment in the world. I have a loving family. Okay, I have a great body. I've looked after myself. I have the ability. I have savings in my bank. So even if I have to take 6 months off work, I'm fine. I said, how does that make you feel? I feel way better. Just the practice of gratitude. Of course, he's going to think about the cancer and feel miserable. We're not taking that away from him. But whenever that feeling is prolonged, you're going to have prolonged cortisol, adrenaline, and everything else. You know it by now. So I need to shift my mind that, fine, there's a lot of stress in my life right now, but I'm aware of it. I've accepted it. Let me put an action plan in place for that. But now let me focus on what I have in my life that is going well for me. The practice of gratitude is powerful for you. No matter what, make it a practice and write it down. A lot of people can also close their eyes and think of it. But when you write it down, it's coming out of you onto your piece of paper. Every night before you sleep, you write down 1 or 2 or 3 things. Don't make it an exercise. Some people do 20, 30 things and they're sitting for half an hour trying to find something to be grateful for. No, it should come. Reflect on your day. You will find opportunities. You will find small miracles in your day, which you will be very grateful for automatically. There are small miracles that happens in everyone's day, every day. You don't believe me? Really, before you go to sleep, reflect on your day. From the time you woke up, go through every little detail. And you'll find some small miracle that happened and you're like, oh, wow, that was a miracle. It didn't have to happen. It could have been the opposite for you, but it happened. These are small miracles. When you learn to appreciate them, you automatically, the stress that you have in your life loses its shine. It's still there, but it loses its shine, which means it doesn't affect you as much as it used to affect you before. Okay? So now we're talking about, partners and, resentment and guilt and all of these other emotions. It's called self-care. How do you care for yourself? How do you stop yourself from getting hurt? How do you stop yourself from getting into toxic relationships? How do you stop yourself from getting abused at work? All of these things, simple things. You may want to make a little list of this. You have to learn how to set boundaries. If you're getting taken granted for, someone's taking you for granted, using you, sometimes it's your fault. You've not defined boundaries. You allow people to cross the boundaries. If you allow people to cross the boundaries, it's your fault. You've allowed them to do that. So part of your self-care exercise is set boundaries. What are the boundaries that you have in your relationship, in your family, with your parents, with your boss, with your employees, with your subordinates? You have to have boundaries. If you don't have boundaries, you're going to be trampled on all the time. People need to know what your boundaries are, and you have to define those boundaries, and you have to set those boundaries. So that's one of them, setting boundaries. Two is living in alignment with your truth. What is your truth? Who are you? What is it that you really like? Are you liking things that others like only because they like it and you feel odd if you like something which they don't like? What is your authentic self? Who are you? What is your authentic truth? Write that down. And then look, am I living this? Most people will find, this is who I really want to be, but this is who I am being. That's why there's so much of stress in your life, because it's so stressful to hold up a facade of someone you're not. You have to constantly remember how to behave, constantly in front of particular people. You have to constantly be so stressed out and conscious about what you're going to dress for, what clothes you're going to wear for the party. You'll have to be so much of stress. The most amount of stress exists in Mumbai and Delhi, from my experience. Okay, on Friday evening, Saturday night, most of the women are highly stressed. They want to get their salon appointments. They want to get their hair done. They don't know what to dress. They don't know what to wear. They don't know the amount of stress that starts from a Wednesday to lead into one night of socializing. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. If it's going to enjoy it. If it's going to cause you stress, something is terribly wrong with you. I don't say that in a derogatory or a disrespectful way. I mean that something is terribly wrong with you. You're trying to live a life or a self that is not you. That's why it's so stressful, and that's why you cannot enjoy it. If it's really you, you would enjoy the process of getting your hair cut, permed, or whatever it is you'll do, dressing up, all of that stuff. You would enjoy the process. If you don't, you're living someone else's life. You're not living your truth, your authentic self. And that's a big problem, because there is so much of stress that comes around with that. So set boundaries, live in alignment with your truth. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, people that you can genuinely connect with. Most people in social groups can't connect with one another without alcohol, without smoking, without shisha, they're nothing. They're just if you're unable to connect with human beings, and there are fillers of drugs and alcohol and mindless talking, there is no connection. It's going to be stressful for you. So surround yourself with people, socialize where you can really have deeply rooted connections. You can connect over conversation. Have your drink, have your whatever it is that you want, but there should be meaningful connection. Very, very important. If not, it comes with a lot of stress. Okay? And spend time doing what you love. So important. Imagine living your life every day doing something that you don't love. Then every day, from the time you wake up till the time you sleep, you're doing something you don't love. Your elevated levels of stress, cortisol, adrenaline, you know the drill, remains high right through. Then comes pessimism, hatred, bitterness, resentment, all of that stuff. Unforgiveness. We've spoken about this, so we're not going to go through that. It is a very negative emotion. Very difficult to forgive certain people, but you have to try. There is no choice. There is no plan B. For you to move forward, for you to get your health better, for you to get that bliss, that feeling of freedom, you got to figure out a way to forgive. We've done part 1 on that, simple meditations on how to do that. You may want to look that up, and we will be coming up with a part 2 of 2 more techniques on how to help you forgive other people and for you to forgive yourself at the same time. So yeah, it comes down to that. Now, before we end, I also want to talk about this, little psychological force that drives all of us. Remember I spoke about finding ways to relax, and all of us look for the material things. It's called a hedonistic approach, okay, where we constantly think that having more will make us happy. So when I get this job, I'll be happy. When my girlfriend says yes, I'll be happy. When I have that, handbag, I'll be happy. When I have this new holiday home, I'll be happy. A lot of people put conditions for their happiness. This is called a hedonistic approach, okay? So let's say you now got into the relationship. She said yes and married you. You're able to buy that handbag. You got a new car that you wanted. You got your new holiday home. You'll be happy for 1 week. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, max. And then you're back to your set point. Okay? What it is that you wanted has lost its shine. It's lost its stimulation because you got it. And now the human mind will search for something more. Oh, now I need the second holiday home. Oh, no, I need to upgrade my brand from this to a Gucci. Oh, no, now I think, I get some attention from my wife, but I think I want to go clubbing out more and do these things. I need more attention in my life. It's never enough. And that's why using material things or things which are not real or things that you have to connect outwards with to induce a relaxation response long-term will never work. It's called a hedonistic approach. Nothing is ever enough for us. No money is ever enough for us. Today, you may want to earn 1 lakh. You'll start earning 1 lakh. 5 weeks down the line, it's not enough for you and you want 2 lakhs. When you get 2 lakhs, you'll be happy for another 2 months. So it's called a hedonistic approach. It's a very powerful psychological force that drives all of us, but don't let it consume you. Have all those things, but don't fool yourself that it's making you happy. Don't fool yourself that it's filling up all of your voids. Like I said, the only thing that can help you fill up your voids, overcome insecurity is one word: courage. The commitment to face your problems, say what it is that you want to say, step into the pain, face it, it will pass. The fear of suffering is worse than the suffering. I'll repeat that again. The fear of suffering is always worse than the suffering. Imagine living in that suffering every day. What if he finds out? What if she finds out? That is very, very painful and very, very stressful. But forget it. Let me go and tell this person what I did. I made a mistake at work. We lost so much of money, whatever, whatever. Now, fire me, don't fire me, whatever. But I don't want to live in suffering anymore. So you see, the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering. So I think by now you would have understood the connection of emotions to disease and what you can do about it. Relaxation. This is the most important thing. So meditation as well. There are so many types of meditation. Find a meditation that helps you relax. There is no meditation which is better than one another. Absolutely none of them. Take an app, download an app. There are a lot of free apps, or learn to meditate with your teacher or whatever it is. But the day you find that meditation or that breathing technique that induces relaxation in you, it could also be just sitting in silence in nature. I just sit for 30 minutes and feel so relaxed. That is good enough for you. Do more of it. Make it a daily habit, because the only way to get out of the sympathetic nervous system is learning to relax. The quickest way to move from sympathetic to parasympathetic, I'm going to give you that one simple trick, is your breath. So right now, if you said something that I don't like, or you're fighting with me, I'm in the sympathetic nervous system. I'm very stressed out. I'm very angry. My cortisol, adrenaline, everything is way up. I'm very stressed. I'm listening to you. But right now, if I start focusing on my breathing, and I make sure, by now my breathing would have become shallow, because when we move into the sympathetic nervous system, our breathing becomes very shallow. In the parasympathetic nervous system, our breathing is slow and controlled. Deep inhales and deep exhales. So the number one clue that you can start practicing right now, no matter how much of stress may be in front of you right now, if you can be aware of your breathing, slow down your inhale, slow down your exhale. By doing that, you'll possibly prevent a panic attack. And number two, there is stress in your life, but you move from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. Do this based on the kind of stress, because if you're in the middle of a fight, you don't want to focus on your breathing and you don't want your adrenaline and cortisol to fall down. You want to have the ability to self-defense, self-protect yourself, self-defense. That's either fight or run. I'm talking about you're in a conversation with your spouse or your boss and in a meeting that's stressing you out, or you're hearing news. Focus on your breath. Be in the parasympathetic nervous system. So be very informed. I call this conscious living. Today, more than spirituality is great. I think people have to focus on conscious living. That is, you're conscious of your words, you're conscious of your actions, you're conscious of your behavior. All of these things, by just living a conscious life, you're able to be mindful. When you're mindful, you're able to know when your body's moving into high stress and what you should do to come into relaxation. Thank you everyone for your time. Have a great evening.